Hey, good evening. I'm Candace Gleese with 21 Next today. Alex Thill is reporting for us in Lancaster County after a mother says that her autistic son was abused for over an hour at school. So she's working on that story, getting information both from that mom and from the school tonight. So, what is this mom saying? What kind of accusations is she making, Alex?
Yeah, Candace. Well, I sat down with Heather Murphy today. She tells me that her 5-year-old son, he's autistic and nonverbal. She says back in February, he was allegedly grabbed by his wrists and dragged across the floor of his classroom. This was at the Lancaster Lebanon IU 13 classroom, is where she says this happened. And she tells me that essentially it was an hour and 17 minutes of this. That he was in a 4 by 4 foot space, and he was repeatedly dragged back into that space by his feet and pinned down by his wrist. That's what she tells me happened. And she told me she didn't find out about this until 2 months after it allegedly took place.
How did she find out about it? Is there video of this happening? Did another teacher tell her? Because everything that she's describing sounds like somebody had to be in the room to see all of this happen.
Exactly. So CPS actually showed up at her door.
What's
on
CPS?
Child Protective Services showed up at
Okay.
her in May, so a little over 2 months after everything happened. And they told her that the school had reported it to them the day after it happened.
But
So,
they didn't tell her.
but they didn't tell her. So we're working to
Wow.
learn why that took so long, why it was 2 months before she found out about the alleged abuse. And she tells me there were 4 paraprofessionals in the room with the alleged abuser, and that a teacher who she says she's been in communication with stepped in to intervene and to eventually stop what was happening. That teacher resigned after doing that. This is all from communication that she has had with the teacher that she tells me. But as of 8 months since this incident happened, the teacher who is allegedly responsible for the abuse has still not seen any charges. But we did reach out to the school where this allegedly happened, and the school did immediately place her on leave, and she has not been in contact with any students since then.
Do we know if that teacher is still on leave?
We do know that the teacher is still on leave as of right now.
Okay.
Heather told me today that the school informed her that her teaching license was revoked, but obviously the school has not confirmed that to us. What the school has confirmed to us is that she was placed on leave immediately after these allegations were brought to light. So we are still working on that. And one other thing I want to mention is I asked Heather what the communication between her and the police has looked like during this whole thing. She tells me that there was an investigation open, and that she had been in communication with detectives, but that detectives told her there wasn't enough to pursue criminal charges. And I asked Heather what the detective told her would be enough for a criminal charge. And she said if there was visible bruising or any physical marks on her son Van's body. But as you heard, she didn't find out about the alleged abuse till 2 months after. So any bruising or marks would probably no longer be there. So we've also reached out to police about that. And a new piece of information, that teacher that I mentioned earlier, who allegedly intervened to help, she filed an affidavit with police. So we did reach out to police to try and obtain that affidavit to see what other information we could get about what happened that day. Police haven't responded to us yet, so we will be continuing to follow up with them to try and learn more about that.
And has the school said anything about the teacher who resigned? Or I'm sure that's probably a personnel matter, so they're not going to comment on that kind of information.
We did ask about that teacher. They said for the teacher's safety and because this is an ongoing investigation, they're not going to release any names of anybody involved in the matter.
It's interesting to me that she resigned after stepping in. I don't know. That's just very curious to me that happened. And then the fact that Child Protective Services was involved, but then the mom didn't know until months later. So what does the mom want to see happen with all of this?
She really wants justice and accountability. She ideally would like criminal charges pursued. She wants to make sure this doesn't happen to any other children. And one thing that I thought was really heartbreaking that she shared with me today is that, of course, she didn't know that this had allegedly happened for 2 months. So she tells me her son was really acting up when she would take him to go to school after this. And she really didn't know why. As I mentioned, her son is nonverbal, so his communication style is a little bit different, and tantrums are not something out of the ordinary. So she didn't think much of it, as opposed to, instead of just him not wanting to go to school. But now that she has learned these details from Child Protective Services, from the affidavit, from the teacher who resigned, she feels an enormous amount of guilt for continuing to make her son go back to school for 2 months after. And she is really upset that the bond that she has with her son is slightly tarnished because of this. She has tried to tell him multiple times, I didn't know, I would never have sent you back there if I knew that this was happening. But she said that she still feels like there is some sort of and she feels like there is some sort of a difference in her relationship with her son now. And she said that's something that she'll never be able to forgive the school for. So she really wants accountability and justice.
Yeah, because she should have been told if this is actually what happened. I know that all of this information is coming from her legal team, and we have the school's confirmation that it happened. Is that correct?
We have the school's confirmation that the teacher involved in the matter is on leave. They didn't necessarily confirm that this happened. They confirmed there's an investigation into what happened. And they confirmed that there will be some sort of state hearing about this. Of course, with Heather telling me today that the teacher's license was revoked, we're going to be trying to figure out if that state hearing is still happening. So that is something that we are also continuing to look at. But of course, there's not much they can give me as this is an active investigation. But they did confirm that the teacher named in the matter was placed on leave.
Okay. Good information today. I'm sorry for that mom and for that child too. Really cute kid. The photos that she shared they're beautiful. And he's only 5 too, right? So he's so
5
young.
years old. His name is Van. And she's also trying to pass something called Van's Law, which would, if she gets it through all the right channels, it would be something where they would want cameras in all the special education classrooms so that parents would be able to check in with their kids in real time and see what's going on. Lancaster Lebanon IU 13 is a specialized school for kids with disabilities. So she really wants something like this in all special education schools to be able to check in on their kids. So that's something that she's working on as well.
Yeah, because sometimes you do need multiple caregivers, or you do need obviously special attention to people who have different needs. So I can understand why she would want that, especially after what she's been through. Being told about it too, I'm sure it would be totally different to see. And it might be good for the teachers too, if there are accusations that are made that simply aren't true. It's good to have cameras for both reasons.
Right.
So it'll be interesting if that makes any progress.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So you'll be able to actually hear from Heather herself tonight. So if you tune in to CW at 10 and CBS 21 at 11, you'll be able to hear directly from.
Yeah, thanks for your work on that. I certainly have compassion for her. No parent wants to be blindsided about anything that happens at school, especially if it involves your son not being treated correctly. So sounds like the school's taking some steps, and hopefully we can find out a little bit more. It can be tough with schools too, especially because we know that they are personnel matters, and a lot of times they don't share a lot of information about that kind of thing, especially when it comes to employees. But I am glad that they gave you some information today to know that something is happening. So thanks for your work on that, Alex. And we hope the best for this mom and her son. Appreciate it. All right. You guys can join us live at 10 and 11 on CBS21.com and on our local TV station if you're in the Central PA area. It is Halloween after all, so hopefully you're having a good Halloween, and be safe out there if you are going out a little bit later. We will see you next time on CBS 21 Next.